But all of my filming, like corporate videos that I've done, have been on this tripod.
Nice. So you owe me a percentage of revenue.
If you want to think about it like that, I did buy a gimbal
Up to 17%, boss man.
Okay, that's fucked up.
This is my $1 million idea. That's a callback. That's a
$1 million
callback.
idea is give someone who you know is going to make a lot of money, pitch in. That's $1 million idea.
Yeah, it's called investing.
You have never heard
Be
of
their
that.
friend.
Alright, guys.
It's called an investment.
So here's $1 million idea. Let me set up a bunch of stocks.
This isn't the $1 million idea episode.
Let me set up something where you can buy into a company. If that company does well, you get your money back,
Guys.
plus more. It's called the stock market. I came up with this by myself.
Can you tell what episode we just recorded?
Can you tell that we started recording episodes back to back?
Guys, my clothes didn't change. I've worn the same thing for a week.
Bro, you do that every week. You don't shower.
Green aura with flies.
Green aura
I
with
hate
flies.
this bit.
know.
I hate this bit.
I do
Mind
too.
you,
I
I
don't
don't
know.
smell.
And you also hate showers.
I hate showers.
Welcome back to something
You know-
objectively stupid.
God
You know
damn.
what else I hate? The PS4.
Okay, well, I
That's-
hate you now.
That's the intro.
Yeah,
That's
I
the
hate
intro.
you.
Yeah, welcome to Console Wars, ladies and gentlemen. He's objectively stupid, so roll the credits.
Yes.
Roll credits.
Roll credits.
Anyways,
Let's get
the
this
PS4 is an absolute monster of a gaming console that has better exclusive titles on it than the what's
That's
that?
the wrong one.
No, it's not.
Xbox.
See.
One
The
second.
weird-
That's what you're picking? That's yours?
You're easy pick. You're easy pickings.
Look,
I
well,
didn't know.
I've got two. The only one I wouldn't pick is the PS4 or the PlayStation. I will pick the PlayStation 2. Fucking phenomenal. But everything else.
Can we
moves
follow-
PlayStation 3
can we
was
fo- can we
phenomenal.
follow the
What are you talking
roadmap,
about?
Please? Can we follow the roadmap?
Like,
yeah, let's follow the roadmap. Yeah,
Guys, we can't just go
we're
balls
cutting
deep.
all that out. We're
Fine.
cutting
We
that,
can't just
yeah.
go balls deep.
Okay, here we go.
Oh, that's
the movies
that's
one.
the movie sequels. Oops.
Oops.
Technical difficulties.
who wrote this episode?
Who wrote this episode?
wrote this
Oh
fucking
my
episode, dude?
God.
So before we got off script and just
Who did
started
that?
yelling about the PS4, I wanted to set some rules for the Console Wars episode. Now,
That's him.
is that?
That's it.
Are you looking at
the
Lu-
Stevens? That's this guy.
What does that even mean?
Is
He
it
looks
my
like
hair?
Steven,
Yeah,
yeah.
you
Yeah.
do. Kiara always says that you look like the kid from Steven
Creeper
Universe.
balloon.
The kid from Steven
Yeah, what's his
Universe.
name? What's his
No
name?
way.
What's his
Oh,
name?
put this in the beginning.
Please.
Oh my god, the Kiara hate
The
episode.
Kiara hate episode
But you blur her name
coming
every
soon.
time.
Coming soon. No, I'm gonna get her on the pod, and I can't. We're gonna make that the Kiara hate episode.
No, we're
I'll
not.
know if she watches the episodes if she starts asking about the Kiara hate episode. That's
true.
Okay, where were we? Who wrote the episode?
Welcome to something
I
objectively
almost,
stupid.
yeah, I almost got you to skip that because you're yelling about
Joey
the
said it earlier. Time for another Schweppes.
Time for another Schweppes.
Some of them are empty.
Some of them.
I assure you.
Maybe.
Yeah, 'cause
I'm
we
gonna
didn't even clean up after the technical
No.
difficulty.
We had a quick intermission.
Bro. No! I've been hanging out with kids my age, and they're all like,
I think you hang out. I think you hang out with kids that are not your age.
Have
I
you
done
not
pissed
seen
myself.
that? There are two
No.
guys on a podcast, and one's a young guy. It's like, yeah, I've been hanging out with a kid my age, and they're like, "Ugh," and then it cuts to the other guy. He just goes, "No!"
This is so much B-roll footage. It's gonna be.
My neighbors hate me.
Yeah, they're gonna
They
hate
already
you even
do.
more.
Anyways, so today's the console war episode.
Yippee!
Yippee!
I'm so
And
excited.
the console wars has been a long, ongoing thing. You know, every single generation, everyone's talking about it. I wanted to find the best be-all, end-all console.
It's kind of quieted down, actually. They haven't been loud about
It
it
has quite a
since the
bit.
PS4. And what was the Xbox out at that time?
I think it
The
was Xbox One.
one?
I think what happened to the console wars, real quick, is online people started flaming it that if you talked about the console wars, there was like
Yes.
during COVID, there was like a love arc.
There was a
Where
yeah.
everyone
there
was
the
like, "Come on,
purge.
guys, let's just be friends."
Yeah, they calmed
Really?
down because everyone was able to play with their friends cross-platform.
Console wars in the big 2022. You're done.
That's what it was.
They hated it. They hated it
Cross-platform
out.
Games come out.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
Yeah,
Once the cross-platform actually started coming out, the console wars have died off. We're reigniting it, all right? We're going back.
sure.
We're going back to the first war.
The
We'll go
first
back to the
Thanksgiving.
First Thanksgiving to get
The
turkey
off
the
the
menu.
menu.
Anyway, that's a movie.
That's a foresight.
Wait a minute.
That's a foresight into the next
Foreshadow.
episode.
Does that movie have a sequel?
It might have a sequel. Tune in next week to see if it has a sequel.
Tune in next
What
week.
is that movie called again? Like, yeah, I don't even remember.
So much B-roll.
I don't know.
It's fine.
Oh my god, this has to play like as a separate screen, like Subway Surfers. Anyway, the rules for the console war: any console is fair game, past, present, or future. Just kidding, not future. You can't see the future. I don't trust
The
you.
Xbox Infinity.
They might come out with that, and it's gonna be ass
You ever,
because
watch
it's
those? You ever
Xbox.
watch those? Like, do 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 do.
Okay, I'm just going to do this. Must are.
the Xbox One, the Xbox Two, and it'd be like a slideshow, and it's like The Rock being like,
Dude, shut the fuck
Yeah, you're
up.
right. I fucking yeah. I get what you're saying.
Please, shut the fuck up.
We should probably get into who's defending what console. I'm defending PlayStation in this fight. I'm guessing
PlayStation in general? What console specifically?
the PS4. I'll
PS4.
I'll do the PS4. Like I'll go through PlayStation's timeline for we'll see who wins dependent on like what generation of console because they are all very dependent. Like if you
Yeah.
pick them. If I pick like PS2, PS3, I just win.
Yeah. So then pick the PS2, PS3.
I'm not going to pick to win. I want to pick to fight with you so I can
was
jump
out
at you
when
again.
the Xbox 360 was out. The PS4 and the Xbox One came out years. The one I know Aiden's gonna pick because I saw it written down. So I would pick.
I have 3 consoles written down, each
Okay.
from each company.
Me personally. So we have to pick a specific console. Is what you're
That's
saying.
what I would like.
Okay,
Yes.
so
I'll do PS3.
I have a very soft
PS3.
spot for the GameCube, but that shit sank like a fire,
Oh my
like
God,
a
like a
Titanic.
Titanic, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, it did rough.
I would like to say that me personally, I never had a Wii growing up, but some of my most fond memories are on 3 gaming consoles: the Wii, the Xbox 360, and the Wii U.
Really?
Those are
Not
my-
the
Wii
not the
U.
DS.
The Wii U. The
DS is
was
a console.
great.
It's a
It was-
handheld
Yeah,
console.
It's a handheld console, but that's kind of like if you try to pick a handheld, it's bringing a knife to a gunfight.
No,
you know?
It's
Not
like a
only
Nintendo
that,
Switch. You can bring a Nintendo Switch
the
to
Nintendo
this fight.
Switch is awesome, but
It's okay.
I would say Nintendo Switch was like my first own home
Yeah.
bought console. And
Oh,
I got
same
that
here.
I got that when I got into high school.
Yeah.
And I definitely sunk the most hours I think onto my Switch.
Somebody tried to steal mine.
But somebody tried to steal yours. But
Right in class.
Really?
They literally tried to grab my entire bag and walk out with it. And I'm like, you know how much money that is.
Yeah,
You know
'cause
how
you
big of a
carried, like,
crime this
everything in
is?
that Switch bag. You had
Yeah.
the dock, like several.
I'm like,
game
you know
discs
how
in their
big of a
case.
crime this is? Like, give it back now.
man,
This is
And
gonna
then
be
he
an hour-
did.
This is gonna be an hour episode. Like,
that's okay. We have an hour for this one. We can do like 30, 45 minutes for the next one. Doesn't matter.
Anyway, what console are you picking? You have the
Oh,
long.
yeah. I would
winded
say for me it's the Wii or the Switch, me personally. Can I pick 2? You pick 3. Can I pick 2?
I brought
He
3
brought
options.
3 to the
Okay,
game.
well, which one out of those 3 options, which one did I not pick?
Well, I brought.
Did I pick any of your 3?
Yeah.
1 or 2?
Doesn't matter. Just pick your
Just one, just
choice.
Pick one, just pick one.
Okay.
That's why I brought 3, so that way I can pick one.
Goddamn
depending
people
on what you guys
pleasers.
want.
I swear to
Okay,
God.
me
Dude.
personally, I do.
Me personally,
me
says for the 5th
personally,
time.
For the 5th time, which console I have more fun on? More fun.
So someone came ill prepared for this episode.
No, I thought we had to pick like a theme of console.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be
And I
like
was gonna pick X-
generational
I-
run.
Yeah.
If we look back in the Discord, put it on the screen editor. I said make sure to pick.
You did say that. That was there.
I'm
Editor
fine
Greg.
with PS3.
Editor Greg is putting a screenshot. Yeah, I'll pick the Wii. I'll pick the Wii.
You're gonna pick.
That's
the
a
Wii.
fair.
Pick
That's
the
a
Wii.
fair
I'm gonna pick
console.
That's a
the
very very fair.
I'm gonna pick the Wii.
Now, since you guys were both kind of like on on brands, I was gonna pick the Xbox 360.
Okay.
I could just
yeah.
pick Xbox in general.
Well, you
Yeah,
said
that's-
that we couldn't do that.
I said we couldn't do that, but you two both kind of walked in thinking that, so I could definitely.
I could
Okay,
still
so then
defend
I'm
it,
full
yeah.
PlayStation.
I'm
then,
full
and then
PlayStation.
you're
I'll
full
be full
Nintendo.
Nintendo. Yeah.
full Nintendo, and I am full.
You got the
Xbox.
greedy company.
The episode has changed to not console wars, but company wars.
I thought that's what the
It's the
console
same
wars
thing as
was.
yeah. It's based off company.
Well, yeah, it's based off company, but what it was console versus console.
It was console versus
It
console
wasn't
because it
all
was.
of Xbox and all of PlayStation.
No,
it was
you've
this
seen-
specific
right,
generation
Aiden's
versus this
right.
specific
No, you've
generation.
seen like the funny little YouTube videos of PlayStation and Xbox fighting on pirate ships, and in comes PC, the master race, floating above both of them.
The fuck
Have
are
you not
talking
seen
about?
this?
No.
Editor, put this stuff on screen. Like this
I
is
ain't putting this
huge.
shit on screen because I haven't
Yeah,
seen
you're
it.
not
would,
the
you're not
editor.
Greg.
You're
I
not
haven't
Greg.
seen.
You're not
Greg
Greg.
hasn't seen this either. I don't know what Greg.
Hey, Greg, can you put me in space with a rocket ship and I'm fighting off an alien and also
We do not
poop?
pay Greg enough for this.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, like I can shoot these out in like an hour. I guess now this is a 2-hour one, but that's okay.
You know what? Emmett can cut out whatever he wants. This is getting cut
Oh
out.
yeah, wait a minute. This
We're
is
gonna
it.
be
Me
the-
saying that this is cut out. I picked Nintendo. Joey picks PlayStation. You pick Ekis Buckus.
Xbox.
Ekis Buckus.
Buckus.
So
Okay.
now I think we gotta go back to the beginning of time here, right? First consoles. Now Nintendo has the edge up. They were the NES, the
absolutely.
Famicom, the Super NES, and then also the handheld market as well.
Yep.
Nintendo was a powerhouse in the early game.
It was crazy.
So I'm gonna switch my topic to the Sega Dreamcast. That's my console.
No
What was it?
fucking
I'm
way.
kidding.
Wait,
I'm kidding.
Which console almost fell down? Was it PlayStation or was it Xbox that almost fell off the horse in the early game race?
I think it was
Pretty
Xbox.
sure it was Xbox.
Was it Xbox?
Yeah, because PlayStation.
They were
won-
close to bankruptcy.
Yeah, they were very close to bankruptcy, but they came back.
They did. They should have
PlayStation-
stayed dead.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay.
I never owned one.
Okay, well, that's
Can you
why,
tell?
Yeah, I can tell. I can tell you little piece of shit. Anyway, let's start with the Nintendo here. You know, you got a long legacy. You started off as
I
a
do.
toy company. You eventually made it into the video game world, and that now you're also now a contender. But some would say that you have fallen off a little bit in the later ages.
So what I'd like to attribute that to is the release in the year, was it No, it's 2000, the GameCube.
Mhm.
That was just a big fumble. That was such a
So you're
huge
saying
No,
the
no,
GameCube is
no.
the entire
No, Nintendo had a lot of fumbles. Like they fumbled
Oh, yeah,
a
they
lot
fumbled
of consoles.
constantly.
Their thing is that they innovate and they'll make something new and hope it doesn't flop, like the Switch with motion control, or not the
yeah.
Switch, but like the
Bro
Wii.
says, oh yeah, you're
The
representing
Wii
the
with
fumble.
I'm
motion
trying to think
controls.
here because like the N64 was such a huge success.
It was,
Oh, yeah,
it was
it
like
really was.
the first popular version of 3D gaming.
What happened to the N64 and how it died was the introduction of PlayStation, the PS1 with
Yes.
discs.
Yes.
With the DVD and discs.
And you know what they did? They made Nintendo made mini discs
Yeah,
that are
they
10
did.
times worse than
Oh,
the
they're
regular
so
yeah,
bad.
see, that's what I'm saying. The GameCube is what started Nintendo's like the reign of Nintendo got demolished because of the GameCube.
No, I think they still
No.
held their own during GameCube time.
They did not.
I would say that the falling of Nintendo came
You know what?
from Sony.
Why are we helping him?
That's so fair. Yeah, let's just make
Let
make
him
a shit
burn.
point.
Let
make
him
a
burn.
shit point.
Let him
It's
burn.
not a shit point. I made the GameCube and it flopped. That's what happened.
That's just
Okay,
not what
so,
happened.
Hey,
It
this
did
is why
fine.
this console is the best. Hey,
it
this
did
console.
not. The GameCube did not do fine.
It did all right.
It lost money.
Did it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
And
The
they
GameCube
came off a
lost money.
loser before that as well with the fucking what was that? The Red Vision thing.
Yeah, but that was
Oh, yeah, that was dumb.
during N64's time. The N64 came out and it was the Game Vision or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
It was.
They had
oh.
3 games. They had like tennis,
Doesn't matter.
WarioWare,
Yeah,
One
it
there.
was bad because it gave you headaches within 15 minutes.
just like real VR.
Which was no point because it was like a small TV in itself. It had a terrible angle and it had a non-adjustable height, so you had
Yeah.
to like bend over at your table like this.
Yeah.
I'm already
It was
doing that,
dumb.
bro. This is how I
Yeah.
be sitting.
That
okay,
is how
but
we'd be
Emmett,
sitting.
why is your consoles the best? Why is it better than Sony and Microsoft?
Every console does have a few fumbles. Nintendo unfortunately does have when it has its biggest dips, like the Wii U, the GameCube, and I was gonna say the Nintendo Switch too, but that's just not happening.
That's
It's-
not happened yet.
No, they sold out already in pre-order. They're done. Everyone has bought Nintendo
Really?
Switch
That's crazy.
It is
Well,
crazy.
I'm not gonna go on the legacy of something that hasn't came
So
out yet.
yeah, I totally agree. I'm just touching on the future. Here's the thing: Nintendo, you can't. The biggest powerhouses of Nintendo, you have to remember the DS.
Yeah.
Everyone and their mom had a DS. You know what? Everyone and their grandma. My fucking grandma owned a Wii. I never did, but my grandma did, and she loved that shit because everyone loved the Wii.
Yeah, the
Wii
Wii.
U was a fumble. I still like the Wii U, me personally, but it was a fumble.
I loved
And
the
then
Wii U.
the Switch came out, and now everyone and their mom has a damn Switch.
That's
Like all 3 of us own a Switch.
Yeah,
Can we do a
I've owned
drinking
2.
game to this episode where every time Emmett says me personally, we take a shot?
Said it
I've
that
heard-
much?
Yeah.
Wow.
I haven't been
damn.
paying attention, but I've owned 3 Switches.
That's what I'm saying.
I've owned one.
I
'cause
own
I'm
2. I've
been a
owned 2.
genius.
I bought the original, and then the original one started to die, so I bought the OLED.
I bought the original, and then I had a second original.
So you were
because
forced
my
to
girlfriend.
buy a second console, and Nintendo wouldn't.
It was never
replace it.
forced.
Your Nintendo Switch was dying.
I
if you
took
wanted to
it's
play your
because I
Nintendo
took bad
games.
care of it. I took bad.
Oh yeah, no, that's a him problem. My Switch never had problems with it. I sold it for like what, a quarter of the price because there's so many of them out there on the market. But Yeah, when I went to sell my Switches, I had like no problem really selling the thing.
Mine still operates and runs. It's just the Joy-Cons got drift because I played it so much.
That's their big fumble. That's Nintendo's big fumble is that they are not fixing it either for the Switch 2.
Yeah.
They are going to continue with
the
the
thing
stick
with
drift.
Nintendo is they innovate, but they ignore problems. Hey, this joystick drifts. Should we make a better joystick? Nah.
So here's the I totally agree with that. But here's the thing: you know those problems exist, yet the games are so good you buy them anyways.
Yes,
they are that
exclusives-
influential.
Their exclusives are bangers.
Yeah,
why I'm gonna
I'd
be
agree.
buying a
I'd
Switch too.
agree for the single fact of Splatoon. I love Splatoon, and that's the entire reason I bought a Wii U. Its technology was garbage. The gamepad, terrible. It broke within like 2 months of me using it with normal wear and tear. Splatoon though, that was fire.
Yeah.
I'll continue to play with a broken controller.
Mario, Legend of Zelda, Splatoon,
Yeah.
Metroid,
Donkey Kong.
Donkey Kong.
The
They
third
have
game.
so many games that just aren't being shared.
Yep.
That's the thing.
and they're
that's-
not gonna be. And
and
they're not gonna be.
They're never going to be shared. When we look over to Xbox and PlayStation, we, as of now, do not have a lot of exclusive games.
Yeah, you sold out hard.
I sold out
The Halo collection going on PC, your sales will just plummet.
No, but you gotta
the
remember.
Halo collection on PC. You bring that up. That was a baller move, and I
It
think
was.
Xbox
was.
is paving the way for the future.
It is. I totally
Sure.
agree with that.
Well, they're selling their consoles. Every like console company sells their consoles at a loss. So the Xbox and the PlayStation and the Switch, all of their hardware is sold at a loss. They get you in the monthly costs of it, which I think are stupid and they should always get rid of. Just pay for a premium for something else besides online.
Right.
But they sell it at a cost because their games are such a huge price per like person who buys them. They're going to make a profit within the first 2 games you buy.
Right.
Yeah.
Right off of it.
And that's what you do immediately when you buy a console. You buy 2 games.
Yeah.
100%.
And sometimes they come with bundles for a little
Yeah,
bit
yeah.
more, but then they make that whatever
Exactly.
it costed
So
back.
yeah, you definitely that's how they make money now.
Yep.
And it's sadly, I think we are going to go towards a place where consoles don't exist anymore. Except for the Nintendo Switch, because
It
would
kinda makes
replace
sense.
The console.
It makes
The
sense
PC.
with it
Just
makes
the PC.
it makes sense with the PC because they're becoming more affordable over time with parts becoming cheaper and cheaper with the
Guys,
generations
I
you
don't
go
know.
along.
I just spent $700 on my PC.
You can-
I don't know if that's
your
okay.
old PC
video edit every single day instead of working a real job.
How much are you paying for or how much are you selling your old PC for?
I think in turn I'd get 500 back if
That's
it
the thing.
sells at the price I want.
That's the thing.
That's
For 500 in the turn back, I can play pretty well. Most of the
single game that's on the
PS4,
market.
yeah, most of the PS4 games that are on the market, most of the Xbox games that are on the market, and I can play Red Ball.
Yeah.
I
So-
love Red Ball.
and I can-
that's on the Switch.
I can do editing on a computer. I can do Google searches on a computer. I can do everything without the limitations of a console and a controller. So a PC for 500, while a PlayStation 4 is 400. Spend the extra $100, get a PC for the family.
If you
Right.
if you can afford it, and even then, that's like if you're spending it on Emmett's PC, that's a damn good PC.
That is.
Right, you could play any single game that's on the market right now.
Yeah.
If you bargain hunted, you could probably get one for $300.
Yeah.
And you won't be able to play everything at top specs or the top of the line games coming out, but you still get to enjoy those games, and that's the great thing about PC. Also, this is not about consoles anymore. This
Yeah.
might have to be.
No,
Well, I think this is part of $1 million idea. We just make it super accessible to get Frankenstein PCs that work well together and just sell it as an accessible, instead of something like a console, sell it as an accessible PC. Just start making Frankenstein monstered PCs that work, sell it to families who won't go, oh, I don't want to buy a computer. Or I don't want to build a computer. Yeah, you're good, man. I got you.
No, but your market will be tiny because people who will look online to buy a computer for cheap and
Get
then
scammed. I did it.
yeah.
Exactly.
I did it.
So
You did
that's,
it?
that's,
I got scammed like out of like $100.
Oh, still.
It wasn't crazy.
yeah, that's still a bad market in my opinion. It wouldn't make it out as $100 idea. Anyway,
Regardless, yeah.
Xbox Legacy.
I think it's important to touch on PC because it is a part of console wars. Especially
It's the
now,
big
it is.
powerhouse.
But where were you going with Xbox?
So the way Xbox started out, because if we go now down to the future where we are now, right? Every single console is basically just a lesser PC.
Yeah.
Right.
Sure,
So
yeah.
that's why the Nintendo Switch would be better than the Xbox One that came out, right? Because the Xbox One doesn't
No,
have
it's
many.
not the one now. It's like the Series S.
Yeah, the
Series X.
X.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is it X?
I haven't bought that one.
I haven't.
and
My-
I'm defending Xbox.
My
It looks like a
girlfriend's
fridge.
dad has that one. It's
Yeah,
just
but they're
the
rich.
It's the same Xbox as the last one.
It just looks like a fridge.
It's just a fridge. The only upside is that when you bought it, you had a full year of getting the Xbox Game Pass, which
The Xbox
More
Game Pass,
credit
which is
to
what I'm going to talk
Xbox.
about. Yes.
it's fucking incredible.
the
I
Xbox
love
Game
it.
Pass is
PlayStation-
amazing.
PlayStation gives you that too.
Yeah, but it's not.
Yeah,
good.
but it's lesser.
No, it's not.
Yes, it
It
is.
gives you no. It gives you like
Can I get,
so
can
many
I get it
games.
on my PC?
Here, hold on.
Can you get it on your PC?
Let me boot it up for you guys on the big
See,
screen.
while
I'll
it's
show you.
booting up-
While it's booting
I'm not
up,
gonna
let me
boot
finish
it.
my fucking point
Yeah.
once in my life. Start out the Duke controller. Did you just fart noise me?
Yeah. You
Yeah.
said the Duke, bro.
The poop. It's the poop controller.
Yeah.
The Duke is considered to be one of the best
It is.
controllers of
No, it's
all
not.
Yeah,
time.
it
It's
is.
it's considered one of the most. It's considered the most comfortable controller
Okay,
of all
so
time.
what-
It's
okay,
not
what-
the
what-
best.
How would you
What
rank a
dictates good
controller?
controller?
Not a fucking.
I
You're a
rescind my
PS4
point.
player.
I
Yeah.
rescind my
The
point.
GameCube controller is modeled after it. That's how
Yeah.
that's how influential it was.
The Duke was, yes. And the GameCube controller is considered to be one of the
One
best
of the
controllers.
best controllers of all
What's
time.
with Nintendo's controllers, by the way?
They
Like, the only good one is
Aiden
Wii.
said earlier, they like to geek out
They
every
do.
so often and just say, "Listen, we're gonna throw shit at a wall and ignore every other problem." The Wii was so successful because it's just like a remote. Everyone knows how to
Yeah,
operate.
it's insane.
You could put a Wii in a baby's hand and he's able to beat
He'd
Mario
bite.
Galaxy.
He'd bite on the right buttons to
Yeah.
A fish could beat Mario Galaxy,
A fish could beat Dark Souls. I don't want to hear it.
a fish can trade stocks.
Fish can
They
trade
can.
stocks. So I think I'm sorry, Joey, but I'm more agreeing with Aiden on this. The PS4 Game Pass. I don't even name a game that's on there. Name a game. Name a woman.
The PS4 Game Pass.
Name a game.
God of War.
Boo! God of War is also on PC now, so
Yeah, it is on PC.
Yes.
I'm just gonna play.
What do you have? On, okay. What do you have on Xbox for
Um,
Game Pass?
All of the Xbox games known to man.
They would also be on PC.
First time I played
Yeah,
Doom.
They're
was
yeah.
on-
They're also all on PC.
Which is
Every
why we're
single
talking about
Xbox
future.
thing is
Oh,
PC.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, my
So
bad.
can we go back to the past when
Yeah.
the first Xbox came out? The Duke controller, yeah, revolutionizing games, and one of the best controllers of all time. It was unknown at the time because Sony, it had PlayStation. Sony, the brand was recognizable. This company came out from fucking nowhere. I don't know what Xbox was,
Did
That's
it?
true.
and they carved a name for themselves.
Did it come out during when PS2 was out? I think.
Yes.
Yeah, it did.
Yes, it
came
did.
out. So
And
not
also
only-
declared bankruptcy almost.
Not only was the PS2 one of the best-selling consoles of all time, this console came out while that one was out and still made money.
True.
Imagine the best thing known to man at the time is right there, right? And you're like, it's cheap, it's affordable. I'm gonna go buy an Xbox, something
you're-
I've never heard of.
Yeah.
before.
Oh look, the best thing out there for PC is out there right now. Let me go look on Facebook for a cheaper deal. That's your argument.
No, because it wasn't that much cheaper. The Xbox was not that much cheaper than a PlayStation 2.
Yeah, I know. It wasn't that
That's
bad.
not my argument at all.
Sure. Well,
But
if you're
tell
fine
yourself-
with settling for
tell
third
yourself,
place in that
don't-
argument, sure.
I think a
Down
good
the street,
example
not
is
across the road, buddy.
if we're gonna think in PC terms, you know how we got Acer and we got AMD and stuff like
Yeah,
that. You have
sure.
Nvidia and you got AMD. What if a new company just made a graphics card? It's like the exact same price, but you've never heard of it before.
Sure,
Your
but they
ass
wouldn't be that.
probably
They
ain't
wouldn't
not
be.
buying
That
that.
wouldn't be that far ahead. It would be like if they were back making almost the 3000 series. Like if they were back making the
original
2060s.
Xbox rivaled the PS2 in power.
It did.
It really did.
Oh yeah, no, I fully agree. But I mean, for the computer argument, for the Nvidia and the AMD bit, it's
Yeah.
if they were moving on to the 3000 series, like they just came out with the 2600,
Yeah,
right?
And, a new company
And then a
showed
new
up.
company showed up with the
Yeah,
2050.
I wouldn't buy that shit. I wouldn't.
Right.
Exactly.
Sure,
That's how
well, you
good this
could.
console was. Even though, like, the PS2 was so popular. I had a PS2. I loved that shit. The Xbox, the original one, I know people who still play that shit.
It's
to
why
this day.
it's why the GameCube flunked so hard. It's
It's
why the GameCube.
Why are we? Why are we bringing this
just
back?
stop talking about the GameCube.
I'm
we're talking
on
about the
Nintendo's
best.
side, bro.
We're talking about the best consoles, and you keep bringing up your company's one of their worst
I
failures.
love the GameCube, me personally, but it flunked. It
shot.
flunked.
Take a shot.
Me personally, I love the GameCube, but it flunked because at the time there were two other powerhouses: the PS1,
So-
the PS2, and the Xbox.
Yeah. So what you're saying is Nintendo, a company that's been around for decades at that point,
Yeah.
has then lost to the up and coming newcomer.
Some companies
Xbox.
flop. Some
Yes.
companies you
But then
launch.
what-
a
So
console
what
and
I'm
flop.
saying is that's just how great Xbox is.
Yeah, but then what happened?
What happened? The,
I gotta-
the
I gotta do some
Xbox
research.
360
Let's-
came out. Are you crazy?
Yeah, the Xbox 360, fucking phenomenal. Fucking phenomenal.
Yeah.
I'll meet ride the Xbox 360 all day. I owned that was
Halo.
So
1, 2, 3,
4.
Reach came out.
Reach came out.
Gears of War,
Gears of
ODST.
War.
Forza was coming around at that
Forza
time as
came
well.
around. All the
and then
Lego
that's that.
games.
Yeah, those are the Call of Duties,
Assassin's
of course.
Creed.
Assassin's Creed. Those are the hardcore games. They had hardcore games, and they also had
Yikes.
what's the yikes?
That's
something.
tough. I pulled up the statistics for this because I wanted to be like accurate in my argument, right? So this is between me and you. I could pull up the stats between me, you, and Emmett, but for the global lifetime hardware sales, the PlayStation 2 versus the original Xbox, the PlayStation 2 sold 155 million copies.
Well, because you could
The
play
X-
Blu-ray on it. That's
The
why.
Xbox sold 24 million copies.
Yeah, so
So,
kind of blown out
that's-
of the water, but that's because for a little bit more money, you could get a Blu-ray player.
This is, yes, but this is for the next year where you got really close. So the PlayStation 3 versus the Xbox 360, the difference was PlayStation was at 87 million and you were at 84 million.
Yeah,
so you got
very
really close.
This was the height of the console wars.
That was height of the console wars and also the closest you ever got to me, considering the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. I doubled your sales, and then the year after, the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X, I still doubled your sales.
Okay.
And
Unfortunate.
it's very unfortunate, but the sales don't matter for what the better console is,
Yeah.
but it plays a role.
It does play a role, I will agree. But I want to talk about the Xbox 360. This is where we come swinging.
Oh,
as
you go
Microsoft.
so close.
We have the Kinect. This is our second.
Please don't mention
Are you
that.
saying no to that?
Yeah.
That was the best. That was the best. You know how you were saying the Wii meat riding and everyone and their grandma had it?
Yeah.
The Kinect
Yeah,
was
everybody did have
better
the Kinect.
at motion controls than the Wii.
Yeah,
Actually,
but
I think it
games
flunked.
on the Kinect. The Kinect flunked. Why hasn't it?
I think the
came back?
Kinect flunked,
I
but it was a
was so
very
good.
good.
It
It was a
did come back for the
great
Xbox
piece of
One.
hardware.
Oh my god, it was.
It was a
so
great
bad.
piece of hardware. I just
Yeah.
think it flunked, unfortunately.
For its time, it was a great piece of hardware. And you're telling me, what
Listen.
console? Okay, let's be honest here. We've all played Just Dance.
I played
Yeah.
Just Dance.
What console would you rather play it on?
Totally the Wii.
Are you
Totally
fucking
the Wii.
stupid?
Yeah, I
I'd
bought it.
play
I
on
bought
Wii.
it for the Switch, for the Wii. That I think Just Dance didn't come out on the. Did it come out on
It
the
did.
Xbox?
Of course it did.
Did
yeah.
it? Okay.
The Kinect.
I
dude!
had the Kinect. It did come out. The best games I can think of on the Kinect were Kinect Adventures, which, mind you, was maybe an afternoon of fun.
That shit was awesome.
It was maybe an afternoon, and Just Dance, which my grandma had on the Wii, and I preferred it on the Wii.
That's the
That's
thing.
because you didn't put passion into your moves.
Well,
You
listen.
only had to shake your right arm.
No,
I had to put
it
my whole
was-
body
it
into
was-
Rasputin.
it
I
was-
had my ass on the ground
How
every
it worked
single
on
dance.
Kinect is it was
Who
able
is
to
calling
mark
me?
all of your hands, and I think.
Hey, Mom, what's up?
Hi, Ian's mom. Listen, while he's on the phone,
recording the podcast, so I would enjoy it.
I think the Kinect was awful.
I think the Kinect was good. I think my point being in all of this is if I'm gonna do Just Dance or something like that,
Getting the Wii.
I'm getting the Wii because it is an affordable console
Yeah.
that comes with the camera and the like control for it and everything. I don't have to buy an Xbox.
You mean camera
and
like the
Kinect.
sensor?
Yeah, and
Yeah,
the
yeah.
sensor bar, right? It comes
Yeah,
with
it
the
comes
sensor
with it.
bar.
Yes.
It's easy. It can see you, and you get Just Dance with it.
If you want
And
to
then
play
I
motion,
wouldn't
yeah.
buy an Xbox for Just
the
Dance.
Xbox Kinect could determine how far away your hands were from the sensor.
I'm not denying that it was
so
good.
Finicky.
I'm
It
not-
was so finicky.
No, it was actually really good at it.
I had it.
Yeah,
I
that's true.
could not play Connect Animals because I couldn't reach out to pet my pet. It was
Yeah,
so
your house
finicky.
is lit like a dungeon.
Yeah.
It is lit like a dungeon.
I'm not.
He's
gonna,
Master
Look, I'm
Prestige the
say-
white van. It's gold.
Oh my god.
I'm just saying, when you're playing Just Dance, I rather the Kinect every single day of the fucking week, because when I'm playing on the Wii, this might just be a skill issue, but I get X's and misses when I'm copying that shit perfectly. When I'm on the Kinect, I get so into it, whole body
Oh,
going.
yeah.
It's awesome. The best way to play Just Dance.
I would agree that it's a better way to play Just Dance, but for the sake of the war, I would rather not buy an Xbox with the Kinect. I would rather buy the console that's 25% cheaper, that comes with a sensor bar and its two controllers. I can play with my family.
Yes,
Hear
but
me
then you
out.
lose out on your
Hear me out.
hardcore audience.
We're going motion control route.
Sure.
Connect Adventures or Wii Sports.
Wii Sports.
Wii Sports.
Connect
I'm not
Adventures or Wii Play.
I'm not sitting here and saying that the Kinect was better than the Wii.
I think it's
what I'm
great.
saying is that the Xbox 360 had a balance of competitive and casual games like no other console has.
I think PlayStation had a very good balance between it as well. I think
I-
our games were pretty similar, like how they rivaled each other.
But how intuitive were your games? If I handed my dad a PS4 or PS2 controller, he'd look at me and say, "What the hell is
Real
this?"
and true. There's no A. There's no letters.
If
There's
I
no
if
letters.
I
No, there's just
put if I
buttons.
put him in front
It's
of the
actually
Kinect and say,
easier.
"Do the dance moves," he can do the dance moves.
And that's why the Wii was so successful. Let's turn this The Xbox 360, great console. The Wii though came out at the same time, fucking way better.
Yeah, but you
Way
just
better.
completely ignored the competitive scene from the Xbox 360. You're just taking
But that's
the casual
the
scene
thing
and
is though
running
is that
with it.
gamers, yes, gamers can be. There's a market of gamers that
Gamers.
are competitive. People who buy consoles buy the console for competitive games. You know, the Call of Duty, the God of War, the Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, the games your
Halo.
consoles could never play.
That's the thing though, is that even though my console could never play that, they were still fucking outperforming because the consoles were so focused on the competitive scene. The Xbox 360 touched on with the Kinect, but the Wii went full casual and it popped off.
So yes, you got a lot of people into gaming, but for
100%.
for a console war, I'm not gonna say just because you got my grandpa swinging a racket around, you're the best console ever.
I'm gonna say, for the sake of the console war, let's say 20% of the world played video games because they were competitive. The other 80 never even heard. The other 80 never even played video games.
And they never played them after.
No, but the Wii introduced that. The Wii got the untapped market
All right,
and the majority.
this is a hot take. If the Wii came out today, it would flop.
I would disagree.
I would disagree on the fact that it's still something unique. I think it's something unique that's different.
It's unique enough, but
Is this
if
like
the
with-
Wii came out with updated graphics and came out today, it would flop.
I totally
Be-
disagree.
Wow.
Because mobile games, dude,
Thanks.
mobile games are so intuitive and impressive that any casual audience is on mobile games now and would not buy a Wii. It would, and then any competitive gamers would also be lost from the Wii. And
All
any
co-
casual
all competitive-
gamers that are Nintendo fanboys like us would buy it, sure, but we probably wouldn't play it that much.
All competitive gamers, if you're going to go to that route, if you're talking about like competitive games, you're talking, the big one right now is Warzone, and it has been for the past few years.
Call
You're
of Duty.
talking about Warzone, Call of Duty, which are my titles, which my console is made
Xbox has-
to do.
No, Xbox does
At
Warzone.
Xbox,
Xbox
yes, it
plays
does.
on-
It
yeah.
it has Warzone.
So
but-
that's what Peter plays on.
Yes, he does play that on Xbox,
Griffin?
but
Peter Griffin.
Peter Griffin. But in reference to it, if you're going to buy a console for competitive games, it's going to be a PS4. It's not going to be an Xbox. You buy an Xbox for the vast library of games that you can provide. You buy a PlayStation for competitive, sweaty games. When you see people raging online at competitive games, it's people hucking PS4 controllers across
you
the
also
room.
haven't made your point about Sony yet. You haven't really gotten into that because we've more just been GameCube.
Said the game
Me personally,
three times. You said
more
Xbox,
than 3
you said
times.
Xbox 360 like crazy, and I know for a fact the Wii outsold
Because
it
the
by a
Xbox
mile.
360 is one
I
of the
know.
best consoles Microsoft has.
I brought up the stats. The Nintendo Switch outsold both of our consoles by
a
a
mile.
mile.
Yeah.
And
But
what
that's
about the
because it
Wii?
was COVID.
What about the
Yeah,
Wii?
that's because of COVID.
I don't know, but-
Why would COVID? Wouldn't be COVID good for all games?
No,
All
COVID
gamers?
COVID was bountiful for Nintendo because
why?
Animal Crossing
Animal
came
Crossing
out.
and the Switch came out just around. COVID,
Is that
right?
a casual game or a competitive game?
It's a casual game.
So maybe the console wars should include casual gamers.
I
as
never
well.
said that they shouldn't.
Yeah, we never
I
said
never
they
said
should.
that they shouldn't. For a console war, I'm not gonna say just because you got my grandpa swinging a racket around, you're the best console ever. I'm just
All that we've been saying is, in my opinion, GameCube.
Did not say
me
you.
personally.
Me personally, that's it. There you
I
go.
mentioned the Wii and saying that. It
Can
was
we
better for-
fucking talk about Joey's console for 2 minutes instead of you being like, hey guys, real quick, can we talk about the
Nintendo has so
GameCube?
much
We can have the
money.
GameCube episode
All right,
later.
So now,
The
so
GameCube.
we're gonna talk about.
There's the script. Follow it.
the GameCube.
We're
Yeah,
gonna
let me
talk
get this
about
over
Sony for just a little bit here. I don't agree with a lot of Sony's business practices. I'm just arguing their consoles and points of selling, and for the sake of something objectively stupid, right? I don't agree with Sony's business practices. I think they fumbled really bad when it came to Helldivers. They lost a lot of
fuck.
my respect when it came to Helldivers. I have 2 PlayStations in this house. We use these PlayStations to run what? YouTube. That's it. Right? I'm never going to be buying a PlayStation that's newer. I'll be buying a smart TV for this stuff. It's all moved to PC. But for Sony and Helldivers, and all of a sudden going, that's my property. You got to make a PlayStation account to a game that they sold globally in places that would not support having a PlayStation account. Very scummy.
That is
Proud of
straight
you,
up theft.
Helldivers. Very proud of you, Helldivers community, for review bombing that game and pushing a billion-dollar company back into its hole where it belongs. Sony makes decent consoles, like the PS5, the PS4, actually decent, well-graded consoles. Their controllers, Come on, guys. You have stick drift. I get it. You appeal to the Monster Energy male audience.
We're
that's
talking
gonna
about controllers now. I
chuck
got a
'em.
lot to fucking say.
Your controllers.
We're
Xbox,
going back to this after.
We will. Xbox controllers are objectively. I think they're better.
Stupid.
I think that they're better.
Something objectively stupid.
For the PlayStation controller, I think they're pretty stupid. I actually hold my controller like I have a claw for a hand so I can hit multiple buttons. I think that's a dumb way to design a controller. It also feels like shit. If this wasn't working, I would huck it across the room. But regardless, the controllers are mid. The games on them, I really like. God of War Ragnarok. These titles are like smash multi-million-dollar makers. Maybe not multi-million-dollar makers, but they made a lot of money. And they have good titles. You've got Rocket League's on every console, right?
Yeah,
I can't mention Rocket League. That's universal now. A lot of games have become universal and kind of obsolete.
Except for
What
Nintendo, who's holding on to that shit.
Nintendo will
Which
hold
is
on to
why
that
they're awesome.
till their death. If you try and pirate that game, they will send an assassination team to your household. That's just how it goes. But if we want to go back to the controllers bit, go right ahead. You can
I fucking hate the PlayStation
the
controllers.
They suck.
They are so stupid. The only time I liked the PlayStation controller was the PS2 because I was 8 years old and my hands could actually fit around it.
Yes.
Why you put your thumbsticks so close together and then your buttons up top? The Xbox controller is just so much simpler and so much better. A diagonal set of sticks so that way you can do it. Your thumb, easy movement to get up there.
gross.
Look at this. Look at him gaming.
That's
That is
gross.
dumb. That is dumb.
Look at him
It's the
gaming.
look at him gaming. Look at this
Look at
silly
my
little
iPhone.
boy game.
I hate the PlayStation controller, and I will never stop hating it because their sticks are just so close together. Like the Nintendo Wii came over Pro Classic controller as well, and they did the same shit where your
Actually,
thumbs would hit in
They
the
fixed
middle.
this. They fixed this problem. The PlayStation 5, they literally copied your controller.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, they
PlayStation.
copied
They
my
rigged
controller.
Not only
The
that,
Xbox
but,
has the best controller ever because it has no gimmicks. It has no random shit. They came out with the Xbox One Pro controller. It's considered to be the best controller of all time with the amount of customization you can have and the amount of comfortability it has as well. PlayStation has never ever like the DualShock came out. That was revolutionary first time. Rumble and all that shit. That was cool. Please put the sticks farther away.
I actually have a question for you guys. Did you ever, as a kid, go onto the internet and go into custom controller builders on like websites and stuff? Oh,
No,
let me know
never
in the
did that.
comments. I used to do this so much as a kid. You'd go onto a website for custom controller builders and they'd have like PlayStation, Xbox, or Nintendo. I'd always pick PlayStation, obviously, and you can customize their colors all around. They would always cost way too much money that I would never afford. But let me know in the comments if you did that. That was like core childhood
If
memory.
you actually have one, I'm sorry for your wallet.
If
Yeah.
we're talking controllers, I still think if we're Xbox revolutionized controllers 100%.
Oh, yeah.
I will swear by it. Xbox controllers are the most comfortable.
I'd
I
agree.
think it depends on what type of game you're playing. Obviously, I think like if you're playing a classic competitive game, you need the Xbox controller. If I want to sit down and just do something goofy, obviously I'm going Nintendo. I think the Wii controller was crazy. The N64 controller was crazy. GameCube is obviously mimicking Xbox, but it has so much potential. I love the Switch controllers, despite people saying they're uncomfortable. I don't feel it. I really
They're a little. Are they bigger on the OLED?
Yes, they're bigger on. No, they're not bigger on the OLED, but they're bigger on the Switch too.
That's right. They're gonna try
I've
and
never had
appeal.
issues with the Joy-Cons as well because I was just saying like Xbox. I mean, on PlayStation, my hands are too big for them now.
Yeah.
But on the Joy-Cons, I can use a side controller just fine for like 2 hours. After that, it gets a little annoying. But if I'm using a side controller for 2 hours, I'm doing too much.
Yeah, well, you know why. Like, if you have it on the side of the console, your fingers have so much room at the back because you're not going to be using them besides your pointer finger at the top.
Well, I use the pre-custom slide thing it comes with. I use that all the time.
Yeah.
It's my
that
preferred
works too.
method.
There's enough distance between them. There's not enough distance between this for the thumbsticks
Yeah.
for it to be comfortable
Give me
in
that,
any
give me that.
regard. So,
My thumbs are hitting.
Yeah.
That's bad design.
It's bad. I'm a big fan of all of Nintendo's controllers. I've played on all of them. I think that it depends. Again, it depends on what game you're playing. I would never want to pick up and play Call of Duty on Joy-Cons.
Was it the
I would
GameCube
never.
controller that looked really funky that had the thing in the center
The
of
cock
No,
in the
that's the
middle. That's
N64.
that's
it? The N64? That was bad.
I
The
disagree.
N64,
They tried
I
to
think,
do something new, but it was bad.
I think for the N64, it was the first console that had readily available. They had to think in a 3D space.
Yeah, it was.
They had a
only-
thumbstick.
Yeah,
that was the
they had
difference,
one
yes.
thumbstick, which is weird. But the way they set it up is so that you could never get control of all of your buttons at the same time, which is weird. You had to switch your grip for every single different game you played. But for the first controller to come out for a 3D space,
it was
they did
phenomenal.
all right.
Literally, the only thing that they did different is that the thumbstick went to the middle. Like, all they had to do was just put the thumbstick above the buttons. Again, you're playing a 2D game, you play with the buttons. Playing a 3D game, slide your hand down a little, hit the thumbstick. It had a grip.
So it
Had a grip.
Yeah, can you go 2D to 3D real quick?
It had a grip. It was,
Had a
and
grip.
again, mind
Had
you,
a
the
grip.
Nintendo Wii, the nunchuck was designed after that grip.
Yeah,
I
that
like
grip
they
was phenomenal.
reused that
Talking
design.
that back button on the N64, you let it go. You felt powerful.
Boom. That's what I do.
Yeah.
You're being really
That
sexual
works.
this episode.
Sorry,
Now.
I just, when we talk about controllers, the Nintendo Wii, Nintendo 64, the GameCube really get me going. Yeah, so Xbox 360, I would still agree, f***ing phenomenal. Wii, phenomenal. PS3 came out at that time.
Me personally, I think the Xbox 360 is great.
Of course.
If we're gonna skip to the
Me
next
personally.
generation, we had the Xbox
I think the PS3
One.
I think the PS3 had really good underground games. Like you had Skate, like all the Skate games.
Skate was on
Skate
Xbox.
was sick.
It was
was
on
both.
Xbox.
Yeah.
Yeah, Skate was
it was-
sick.
Skate was sick. They there was a lot of them. I got a bin that had a whole bunch of like PS3 games that not everybody bought. All of those were fire.
Mhm.
Like all of them were good. So, yeah.
Oh, I think we need to find a way to wrap this up.
That's
this was
true.
a bad episode.
I don't think it was a bad episode. I think
it
I
was
liked
good.
being at Emmett's throat. Me personally.
Every once in a while,
yeah,
we
me
get
personally,
one
I
of
think this
these.
is a great.
Every
Emmett
once
Hate
in a while, we
episode.
get one of these. I didn't even get to the. We barely touched.
We
them.
barely touched the
Okay, yeah,
GameCube.
yeah.
We
Let's-
barely
yeah, we
touched
barely
the
touched on the
GameCube.
GameCube.
We
Let's
barely
talk about
touched the-
Nintendo's
I-
legacy.
Let's talk
You know what,
about it.
Yeah,
Yeah. We
Make-
didn't
make
even
your
get
point.
Past the Wii for Nintendo's legacy.
Make your fucking
Because you
point.
keep going back to
Yeah.
the GameCube.
Because I couldn't finish.
Do
the
your
GameCube.
funny
All right,
because
go
you
ahead.
are me writing it.
I love the GameCube.
Go
Do your
ahead.
funny little dance,
The reason
monkey
I
man.
ride the GameCube is because it undersold because Sony and Xbox came out with better consoles at the time. More
Man, I
powerful
never got
consoles.
past the Wii. It goes back to the fucking GameCube.
Well, then I'm moving on. The Wii came out, and Nintendo said, "Shit, we almost going bankrupt. Let's do nothing ever done before. Let's go to the casual market." Which, in my opinion, most games that I have played and had a phenomenal time are casual games. I don't give a
Yeah.
shit about Viltrum. I don't
Yeah.
give a shit about Call of Duty. I don't really care about Assassin's Creed. I don't care
League of
about
Legends.
competitive games, which is what PS4 or PlayStation and Xbox are known for.
Yeah.
Right? I love Halo, but would I go back and play Halo? Probably not. I'll go back and play any Zelda game, any Mario game.
I caught your ass on the Master Chief Collection.
I was playing with Joey.
2 weeks ago.
I was playing with Joey, and we aren't finishing it.
I'm
We're not
never
finishing
going
it.
back to
It's
that
tough.
game.
I've played it on my own.
He's not going back and finishing it, so I was only doing it with him. Regardless, I would go back and pick up any old, like Mario 64 still holds up.
Yeah, it's
Wii Sports, we played that a week ago.
we
It
did.
is that good.
We did.
Right? The Wii U flopped. But it came out with Mario Kart 8. Right? Breath of the Wild, which also came out on the Switch. The Switch is phenomenal. It's sold out. Pre-orders are gone. In my opinion, Nintendo triumphs all. Just
You know what?
because I do not care about...
I
I don't
think-
think most people care about competitive games. I don't.
I think we can wrap this up in a nice, neat little bow that I think we can agree on, right? I think if you want a console for party games and you want something to play with a bunch of people, it's Nintendo. Nintendo's the party game console.
Yeah.
It goes everywhere.
Yes.
I think for casual games and a comfortable experience gaming, it's Xbox.
Mm.
I think your wide library of
Casual
games,
on Xbox?
your wide library
you
of
got,
games,
like,
you
a
have
bunch.
Roblox, you have a lot of
They,
stuff.
they have those free games ish,
Roblox is on
and then they
Xbox.
also have the Game Pass.
They lose
which
points for
is
that.
Phenomenal, right? So if you are strapped for money, getting an old Xbox is probably the best way to go.
100%.
Yeah. I think for casual games, a comfortable experience, like I would sit back on a couch with the Xbox controller on a big old TV, and I would just casual game it up.
Yeah, there's also something that we haven't touched on: sports games. Nintendo doesn't have those.
What are you talking about? We got
Yeah, it's a
Mario.
nice
We have
sports
all
game.
them.
Can you pull out MLB The Show? Can you pull out NHL 2K?
No, but I can pull
Those
out Mario
don't count.
Sluggers, and I can
Yeah.
pull out Super Strikers,
There's
and I can pull out
a
the
lot of
Olympic
people
games.
buy consoles just to play the new
2K games.
sports games that came out.
I
That's
think
called an addiction. They need to stop making those. I'm sick of those. Go outside if you want to play sports games. I never got into any of the sports games.
Back-
They were bad.
back to the neat little bow though. For the final category for myself, I'll put like competitive games. When you see like tournaments and stuff, it's not usually
It's a
Xbox
PlayStation.
tournaments. It's Sony tournaments. It's
Yeah.
PlayStation tournaments on consoles and everything like that. Professionals who play in Fortnite or what have you usually
play PlayStation.
usually play on PlayStation,
100%.
right? They might change the controller over, but it's typically on PlayStation
Yeah.
for stuff like that. So I'll go for more hardcore FPS games.
Mhm.
It's more PlayStation.
Mhm.
You are
Yeah.
comfy cozy. You are party games.
I'd agree.
I
With
think
that.
that's a
If
nice
I were to
little
pick
bump.
one console to rule them all, though, me personally, I'm picking the GameCube.
If it's
I'm
in the
picking the
GameCube,
Nintendo Switch.
I picked the Switch of the Wii. Me personally.
I'm thinking the console to win it all is the Switch for its versatility of it can be a party game. It has its first person shoot, like it has its Splatoons, it has its party games, it has its casual games. I can game wherever I want. I can also go to the TV.
Yeah.
If it's one console to win it all, it's that console.
And if
It
you're
does
gonna,
it
if
all.
You're gonna sit there and look at me and be like, "Oh, but last gen's graphics. Buy a fucking PC."
Yeah.
If we're this is a console war, not the PC war.
The only true console that exists anymore is the Nintendo because they will not let go of their games and they keep
Yeah.
innovating.
Why-
They don't
yeah.
just do the same shit over and over and over again.
I totally agree.
They need to shake it up, like Sony and Xbox. And Microsoft, I suppose, because that's who owns you.
yeah.
I think both of them, if they want to continue in the console race, either like you're doing, they have to adapt to the PC market, or they have to do something with their consoles that makes me want to buy it. I haven't wanted to buy the PS5.
Yeah.
Like Miles Morales and everything like that, and the Spider-Man games that have come out, I can get them on PC now.
Yeah,
I
they'll
knew
come out
that
on
was
PC
going to
eventually.
happen because your PS5s got scalped for the first 6 months that they came out. So
it's like for me, it's like going to the movie theater now. You know, it's like if
Yeah.
it's something cool and new, like Spider-Man: No Way Home or something like that.
Yeah.
I'm going to the theater. I'm watching this shit. If it's the Minecraft
Mickey
movie,
99.
I am going to what?
Mickey 99. Is that what it's called? It's a fucking phenomenal. It is a phenomenal indie film that has just flopped. It was groundbreaking in all sense, and it just flopped. If you haven't gone to the movie theater, go watch Mickey 99. It's pretty good. Anyways.
editor, cut that shit out. I'm kidding.
No, I'm putting that
kidding.
in. Mickey 99 needs to be seen. It's a great
Put it in
movie.
the description.
Put it in the
Yeah,
description.
they'll put a
Every
link to
time
it if
I am
it's a
in the
good
middle
film.
swing of a point, you come up in here
I gotta,
and
I
be like,
gotta
"But
put in
the
Mickey 99.
GameCube, but Mickey 99."
But in my-
Gotta put that in there.
Me personally,
Me personally,
Alright, you
go
know-
watch Mickey 99.
our audio is gonna be so bad. There it goes.
There you go. See,
We've lost a host, so
I think that's it. I think that's the ending.
I think that's it.
Do we have time for another?
No.
It's 807.
But anyways,
It's 8:07. You don't have time.
now that we're at the end of this episode, thank you for watching the Something Objectively Stupid podcast, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to find our socials, we have an Instagram and a TikTok account. Thank you for listening. Have a good one.